You know, sometimes a football match is so much more than just the final score. And Liverpool's recent 6-0 win in Europe, it's the perfect example of that. It's a story of pure celebration, yeah, but also relief and a looming crisis that even a dominant scoreline can't totally paper over.
Okay, so let's get right into it, because you really have to wrap your head around this. At the heart of this whole story is this bizarre contrast in Liverpool's form. I mean, in the Premier League, it has been a slog, just 5 wins in their last 18 games. But then you look at Europe, they're a completely different animal. 6 victories in 8 Champions League matches, it's like watching 2 different teams. And that's what makes this latest European night so fascinating.
So how did this whole thing play out? Well, it all starts with a team that's already feeling the pressure. And then, just minutes after the first whistle, that pressure just gets cranked up to 11. Even before a ball was kicked, the manager was already talking about the team's struggles. The injury list was getting seriously wrong, and the bench, well, it was looking alarmingly thin. Curtis Jones gets ruled out with an illness, and suddenly you're looking at only 3 senior outfield players in reserve. The whole situation was already on a knife edge.
And then, bam, just 3 minutes into the match, disaster strikes. Jeremy Frimpong goes down, and it looks like a hamstring injury. What was already a really difficult situation just became a full-blown crisis, forcing them into an immediate, pretty desperate reshuffle at the back.
So, to deal with this, the team had to get, well, creative. Ryan Gravenberch, a midfielder, has to drop in and play central defense. And Wataru Endo, a 33-year-old whose job is to shield the defense, is suddenly playing it right back. I mean, this is about as far from an ideal backline as you could possibly imagine. But here's the wild part. You'd think, with all that chaos and the defense patched together with tape, the opposition would be all over them, right? Not at all. They were completely toothless. They couldn't even manage to put Endo under any real pressure. Instead, Liverpool just grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck and absolutely refused to let go. So, with the defense somehow holding firm, who was it that stepped up to drive the team forward? Well, the answer really lies with the club's big new signings, the players who were brought in to be the future of this attack. And one of those guys is Florian Wirtz, who came in with this absolutely massive price tag hanging over his head. A fee like that brings a ton of pressure, and that constant question is always there. Is he actually delivering on that investment? On this night, the answer was a massive yes. Wirtz is now consistently showing everyone what he's made of. He capped an incredible performance with a beautiful goal from the edge of the box. He was one of the true architects of this whole victory. And he was not alone. The whole new attacking unit just seemed to click into place. You had Wirtz's silky, intricate passing perfectly complementing Hugo Ekitike's raw power and direct running, which was just a nightmare for the defense. And all the while, Dominic Szoboszlai was the creative engine, pulling the strings with these clever passes, like that fantastic back heel for an assist. The chemistry was just undeniable. All that control, all that creativity, it just set the stage perfectly for the second half. And that's when Liverpool's dominance turned into an absolute avalanche of goals. Anfield was just rocking, totally in a party mood. But, you know, in the middle of this goal fest, one moment really stood out for its pure, raw emotion. And that was Mohamed Salah, one of the club's all-time greats, scoring his first goal for the team since way back on November 1st. You could literally feel the collective sigh of relief around the stadium. And the description of his celebration, it just says everything, doesn't it? Thumping the badge on his chest not once, but twice, before standing there with his arms outstretched to the fans. That wasn't just a celebration, it was pure catharsis. It was a player and a fan base just reconnecting in this moment of shared joy. So Salah's free kick basically opened the floodgates. Then, boom, an awesome solo goal from Ekitike. A few minutes later, Alexis McAllister gets his second from close range. And to top it all off, the substitute, Federico Chiesa, seals the 6-0 demolition. It was relentless. But as the cheers finally died down, a more sobering reality started to creep back in. Because all the joy of that night, well, it came with some very real consequences. And that's the big question, isn't it? As fantastic as the performance and the result were, you have to ask yourself, was it really worth the toll it took on a squad that was already stretched so thin? I mean, let's just recap the damage report, shall we? You've got another name added to the injury list, a key player was out sick, and 2 midfielders had to gut it out for 90 minutes in completely unfamiliar defensive positions. The team is being stretched to its absolute breaking point. And that's the real problem here. This European joyride was a fantastic escape, but the harsh reality of their Premier League struggles, that's waiting for them right around the corner. Saturday's match against Newcastle could be a brutal wake-up call. So at the end of the day, Liverpool are comfortably through to the knockout stages. Their European form is undeniable. But the final question still hangs in the air. Was this dominant, feel-good victory a genuine turning point for their season? Or was it just a beautiful but very, very costly distraction? Only time will tell.